This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike. Talking sixes in the bird gang, that's I like. Competition, we ain't scared, yeah, that's what we like. Win or lose, you know we showing up and we gon' fight. You see we strive for the sky every day that go by. And every single week we screaming fly, eagles fly. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah.
What is going on, everybody? Goat Talk, the podcast, back. 10-1 Eagles, Philly Mike LB. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Like you said, we 10-1. Had a good Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? I heard we clinch next week if we get the dub and go 11-1. I'm ready to talk some Eagles, man. I ain't see you in a minute. I miss you. Let's get it.
Yeah, man. I'm never leaving the comfort of my crib again. I just felt so distant from all my Philadelphian brethren. Whether you are not in Philadelphia, but your heart is in Philadelphia, you know what I mean, because I don't even reside in Philadelphia. But we got some things to talk about. And like you said, Thanksgiving has actually been for 11 weeks. The Eagles have been giving us some good football, minus the one blimp on the radar against the Washington Commanders, who have won games since beating us. We might have pepped their mojo a little bit, but Garner Johnson was one of the casualties in this 40 burger that we put up, but he had a message. And LB, I want to get your reaction of how this is worded, because listen, you know, in today's social media, you got to take everything and you got to analyze it this way and that way. And so he put a picture of him coming out the tunnel, and he said, "I'm passionate about what I'll do, comma, I'll be back, exclamation point." In your mind, hearing that, seeing that, reading that, is that a I'm coming back soon? Or dang, this might be, I might not be able to come back till next year?
I think he's gonna miss only one game and he'll be back. I think one game. I think it's bruised ribs. You know what I mean? First of all, we talking about a guy who's tough as nails. In the Dallas game, he went out, appeared to messed his hand up or something like that. Went in the blue tent, came back in the game, and got, I think, the game sealing interception. If I got that correct, this guy is really, really tough. He's been hitting and putting his body on the line all season. You know what I mean? I think it might be some ribs, as long as it's not like a punctured lung. I don't know the severity of it, but I think he'll be back much sooner than later. Now, I will say this, though. With him being out, we're learning something about one of our young rookies and Reed Blankenship. And I think that this game against the Tennessee Titans is more for a safety like a Reed Blankenship, who don't mind coming down into the box right and being that thumper and hitting. So, you know, this gives CJ opportunity to get healthy down the stretch, and this gives Reed Blankenship some time to get his shirt dirty as well. So, you know, I don't feel bad about this at all, even though Garner Johnson is leading the league in picks. But he's coming back soon.
Yeah, for a Pro Bowl vote, All-Pro vote, it could interfere a little bit. But I like that hot take. He said one game. We talking about a dog in Garner Johnson. I looked at it in a sense that he's coming back this season for sure, and sooner rather than later. I don't know if I can say one game, but I do believe means he's going to be back, and he's not going to let Eagle Nation down. So I took it as a good sign for him to be, you know, putting that type of, you know, stamp out there prior to his diagnosis being fully updated. We know it's the ribs, but when you are on your second day and you don't have the full update, that means you're checking into deeper things or trying to get second opinions and stuff like that.
Right.
So, but you're right, man. Reed Blankenship. And I saw the short you put out today. Love it, by the way. The 2 game balls. One went to Quez, who I like how Nick Sirianni said, man, your number might not always be called, and you had that little blunder, but he responded beautifully the last two games, coming up big for 2 touchdowns in crunch time in both games, and then Reed Blankenship got a ball. Do you believe like this is just that one game? You know, he got lucky, or do you think we got one in Reed?
I think you can look at Reed a little close. It's hard to say if you got one or not, but Reed is one of those safeties that's around the ball just as much as a TJ Edwards is. There's no one-on-one tackling when Reed Blankenship is on the field. It is always a gang tackle, and Reed Blankenship is always in the midst of that. Now, as far as Quez getting his game ball, I feel like that, you know, you could kind of attribute some of that to Jalen Hurts for always keeping his guys involved, even when they have those little blunders. If you remember, AJ's fumbled the last 2 weeks. After AJ's fumbled the last 2 weeks, Jalen Hurts went right back to him. Some of the veterans, of old, they don't do that. If you fumble a ball with Tom Brady, you might not see a ball from Tom Brady again. Aaron Rodgers, you might not see a ball from those guys again. Jalen Hurts is going back to Quez repeatedly. You know what I mean? Quez has come up 2 touchdowns the next 2 weeks. A.J. Brown scored after his fumble. A.J. Brown also did catch a very important pass in the Washington game. Was it the Washington game where he fumbled, A.J.? No. In the Colts game, he still kept him involved, offense as well. So that's just a testament to how locked in this team is together. And the game ball to Reed Blankenship, man, I mean, third career snap picking off Aaron Rodgers, just well-deserved, man. But, I think he got a bright future.
Yeah, man. I just like, there were flashes of him in preseason and stuff. And there were a couple Eagle fans. Shout out to the people who definitely were like, hey, this is the guy. He's gonna make the roster. We're seeing signs. And then the call to put him in over Kavan, who you've been preaching has been playing better as of late, and actually had 2 big plays. He had a big play on special teams, and I think he had another play deflecting the ball. They try to go at him in the end zone, and he got a deflection or something. So Kavon Wallace saw what Reed Blankenship did, and he was like, man, I got to step my game up because this undrafted rookie never got no snaps. Has always been me coming in as that third safety. And now look, he's out here outshining me. So, iron sharpens iron. And I agree with that 100% because you see Fletch out there, right? He like,
right.
whoa,
He balling. He's balling
Fletch
now.
was like 5 years younger.
Right, he balling now, and you got to do that, man. You can't let nobody come in and take your food from you like that. You know what I mean? I got to give some credit to Marcus Epps because I saw when they interviewed Reed Blankenship today, that was one of the names that he kept shouting out. Like, listen, Marcus Epps has been on me and teaching me the ropes, man. He word for word, he said, I love that guy to death because rookies need to be able to lean on guys like that. You know what I mean? Even though Marcus Epps is a guy who's just now getting his shot, it shows the selflessness of his team for Marcus Epps to be trying to bring that guy along. If you can remember when the Titans, who I guess we'll talk about that later, when they drafted Malik Willis, they asked Ryan Tannehill, well, are you comfortable with showing them the ropes? He said, hell no, that ain't my job. You know what I mean? Some people carry it like that. So this team is all about winning and making the next man better, which is why there's no drop-off when you got guys coming in due to injury reasons.
Yeah, I agree. There's a total brotherhood here, no pun intended, because it's a city of brotherly love. But there is that, BG was quick to just put everybody on, knowing that the Eagles can kind of force the hand and move him if these youngsters take flight. And same every position, you just see that. And so Epps, who had made some mistakes on the field, at least is coming through in a mentor role for sure. Speaking of just this game and this vibe, did you ever question the win? Like when they came back and took that 14-13 lead, did you ever think that we were actually going to lose to the Packers?
No, man, no. I didn't. I didn't think we would lose to Washington, even though we lost to them, because I feel like that Jalen Hurts has been so good at making the play all year. He's made the play in the Washington game. We just didn't capitalize on it from our skill position guys. It's not we have not lost a game or had a game in jeopardy because Jalen Hurts couldn't perform or do what he had to do. So no, I felt like that Jalen Hurts would always be able to pull out that game against the Packers because once he put those guys in that position during that first drive to have to pay attention to his legs, they were at his mercy at that point. You know what I mean? Now you got to pick your poison. I'm going to try my best to keep him in the pocket because he's killing me with his legs, but this guy can throw back shoulder fades now. You know what I mean? This guy is reading the field with perfect anticipation. This guy has weapons all over the place. You know what I mean? I just don't think in the way the offensive line was performing, I knew at some point we were going to, assert our will, especially, during the stretch we were getting to Aaron a little more. I just didn't think it was in question at all. Hell no. When they took the 14-13 lead, I said, yeah, I said it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, that was my mindset. Like I was upset with stuff that transpired because we too good to not get 2 back-to-back quarterback sneaks. One, a blocking mishap, like Quez was just not really there to do it. And then just everything that went wrong on that 4th and 1. But I said right away, with the way the defense was looking, and we're going to get into the defense a little bit and the special teams, which has been really bad.
God awful.
But I looked at the live play-by-play people, and shout out to them. There's always a mad heads up in there, good, bad, ugly, sad. But I looked at them and said, well, it's going to be a high-scoring game. And shout out to the people who thought we were going to put a 40 burger up. There was a lot of people saying 40 burger. I was not there, but yeah, I got there throughout the game for sure. And you're right. Even in that Washington game, when Quez dropped it, I still believed. And, things transpired where we had multiple chances. And, the Texans, okay, it was tied at half. I never thought we were going to lose. Man, when before Heineke tricked Brandon Graham, I would have been the one to swear on the camera that if we got the ball back with that 1 minute and 40 seconds, we beat the commies, the blah, blah, blahs, whatever you want to call them. Like you said, there's a confidence level that Jalen Hurts has now instilled in me that if there's one more drive, one more chance, and it's only a one-score game, I'm putting my chips on number one's pocket.
Yeah, and that comes from him having so many different ways that he can win, man. And if you think about it, ever since Dallas Goedert went out of the lineup with his injury, Jalen Hurts been putting more on his plate and more on his back. He's been running a lot more lately, since
AJ's
Dallas
been
Goedert
picked
went
up
down.
too. So
Right.
it's Goddard and AJ. Like, we didn't just lose Goddard. You're missing, and Hurts
Right.
knows the temperature because he sets the temperature.
Mm-hmm. Right. He feel what's going on around him. And look at the three main weapons right now. The last couple of weeks, it's been Smitty, it's been Miles Sanders, and it's been Jalen Hurts. You know what I mean? We have not found a tight end to replace Dallas Goedert. We've basically taken tight end out of the game plan right now. There's no next man up. What we did, and I looked at this very carefully, what we did was use our extra tight ends for blocking. You know what I mean? To assert a power football game plan that plays right into the hands of what Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders can do. Let's talk about Miles Sanders, though, man, who was quietly having, I want to say, a top 8 to 5 running back, season in the National Football League. 900 rushing yards for Miles Sanders. The attempts aren't there, but he's like 5th in rushing. It's ridiculous. 5.1 yards per carry. Did you think Miles Sanders would be this effective? It's very quiet. Does it feel like he's this effective to you?
No. Like I said, the way the Eagles just kind of left him go between week 7 to about yesterday, I was like, what happened? Week 5, week 6, there was a stat that I put out there that the Eagles had a top 5 quarterback in passing, a top 5 running back in rushing, and a top 5 wide receiver. A.J. Brown was in the top 5. He was number 3. Miles Sanders was number 3, and Hurts was 3 or 4 at that time. That being said, it changed once we stopped running with Miles. And then we stopped giving to A.J. different circumstances. I always look at this Eagles coaching staff as they go to the extremes at times. That's the one thing I want them to slowly get out of. Now, again, if an extreme is working, I'm cool with it. You know what I mean? Because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I firmly believe in that. But there's times where their extreme is not working and it takes them too long. It takes them 3 quarters. And I'm talking even about the offense in the sense that when we played in Arizona and we did that horizontal passing, wouldn't take no deep shots, and we wouldn't really run the ball with the running backs until the end of the game. And the same for last week against the Colts. Nonstop throwing when we couldn't get the offense going until the end. I just think that we have to be more balanced, do what's working in the game, but show some balance. But back to Miles Sanders real quick. 900 yards. He had his career high in carries this year already, career high in yards. His words that he spoke in the offseason was, look, he pretty much said to the media, y'all don't think I'm that good because I don't get opportunities. If you just give me the carries, I promise you won't regret it. That's pretty much what he said, and it's pretty much been the fact. If he gets more than 18 carries, he's getting more than 100 yards, and he's doing what needs to be done, whether it's short yards gain or breaking some stuff. It just hasn't been there, but Miles Sanders is making the Eagles look now to another person that might have to be talked about to be brought back.
Yeah, I agree. And for real, honestly, man, I think Miles Sanders has gotten a lot better this year. When you look at his style of running, sometimes he does like this pitter pat, kind of reminds you of a Le'Veon Bell style, how he used to do with the Steelers early in his career at the line of scrimmage. He's looking to see where to go. The patience is there. You know what I mean? He's not trying to beat you to the outside with his quicks all the time. Miles Sanders is trying to go through the hole and trying to go through contact now. Miles Sanders is, you know what I mean, what we all thought he could be. And he's doing it with very limited amount of carries. Like Miles Sanders is going to end this season with 1,000 yards and 10 rushing touchdowns. I mean, you got to bring him back. You got to bring him back. He's better than Gainwell. I don't think Gainwell's trash. He's better than Boston Scott. I don't think Boston Scott is trash. But Miles Sanders it's going to be hard to find that kind of guy in college. I think, and Miles Sanders is still fairly young. Minimum tread. He's been in the game for years. He's never had 200 carries in the season. I think you bring him back. I would.
Yeah, look, I've always been on the if the price is right, let's get it. I just thought that we were in a lose-lose situation for the simple fact that if what has been hampering Sanders throughout his career, it's been health and it's been you know hitting the
Utilization.
hole. Yeah, utilization, hitting the hole at times. But this year he's showing everything. And so my thing was like, if his year's not that good, it's going to be a reason for the Eagles to walk off and not pay him. But now he's playing and he's going to be asking for what he should ask for. I'm just saying, if running backs don't get paid 2-3 times, they get one decent pay and then maybe they can knock off one little cheap one at the end. He's going to want top 10 back money. Now, if Howie can, cross the T's, dot the I's the right way where it doesn't hit us certain years where maybe Hurts contracts got to start up, or what we do with some of these guys and CJ Garner Johnson, who's now could ask for top 5 safety money. You see what I'm saying? So like if a deal to Miles Sanders on blind faith week 5 or week 6 is, you can get him at a good price. Same with CJ Garner Johnson before them picks come. Now, again, their agent comes to the table with, we lead the league in interceptions. Move that deal. Miles Sanders, 1,200 yards, 10 plus touchdowns. Move that deal. And Howie's always been good at getting the deal done where you do take a little risk because you don't know if Miles Sanders was going to have this type of year, but you got to try to beat him to market, I guess. And right now, the leverage is on Sanders' side, but he does love Philly. So maybe.
That's what I'm saying. And the culture that was built here, the winning environment that's built here, wanting to stay around Jalen Hurts. Nobody wants to go to Denver and struggle with Russell Wilson. That's his scenario. You know what I mean? Because Denver needs running backs now. They just let go of Melvin Gordon. You know what I mean? Javonte Williams. And that's a scenario. They're going to be in the market for one of these. And this is a really deep class of free agent running backs, Miles Sanders included. Like nobody wants to go nowhere and struggle. Like Jalen Hurts is a winner. Like running backs want to play here because you fit into what Jalen Hurts does. You know what I mean? We run the ball beyond his power offensive line. Now, I think that, a couple of our defensive linemen will be gone. So we'll have some of that wiggle room. Robert Quinn will be gone. Fletcher Cox could very well much be gone as well. You know what I mean? You'll have a little more wiggle room, to play around with some contracts. I'm not sure where Kelsey goes. I would try to do whatever I can do to still keep Kelsey around. You know what I mean? He's still one of those ones for real. But you will have some wiggle room to make some things happen. I think you might give up on Bradbury. He goes somewhere and gets a monster deal because he's been playing well. So you'll have some money to keep Miles Sanders around, but it's all about how Howie Roseman values the position and values the player. And it's all about how far we go. If you win the Super Bowl, everybody wants to come back on the cheap deal. You know what I mean? To try to run it back. So we'll have to see how that pans out for sure.
Yeah, and if Miles does take a smaller length of contract, then I think Howie is one of the best in the game when it comes to just rerouting the money where the book doesn't look as heavy as what Jeff Flurie's dishing out. Speaking about one of our players who we don't got to worry about getting paid because he already has got that $100 million in his pocket, and it's 1K's always open. Listen, I was really mean in the live play-by-play, and I have not said much bad things about A.J. Brown, but fumbling back-to-back games and just having that bad body language, dropping the ball, I was a little upset, and I said, we call him elite. I believe he's still elite, but I got to see it more. And then I found out after the game, some people were telling me at the tail end of the game, but, my TV's on mute pretty much because I'm doing the play-by-play. but the dude was not just sick. He lost 7 pounds throughout
Mhm.
Thanksgiving. The dude was throwing up so hard that he popped a blood vessel in his eye. And I say, you know what? I'm gonna fall back on a slander, but I do got to see more 1K always open week 1 through 7 than week 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How do you feel about that situation of
I
just
mean, he definitely. I
AJ
mean,
Brown?
his body language definitely has been off lately. Yesterday was the first time I could say, he looked weak. And I don't mean weak in game. I mean he looked like he was sick. If you lose 7 pounds and you've been throwing up, you're definitely going to look weak. But he's damn sure strong enough to hold on to the ball, and I expect that out of AJ Brown for sure to be able to hold on to the ball. What I mean, I gotta call a spade a spade. AJ, my guy. You know what I mean? But holding on to the ball and being a physical specimen and playing physical is what made AJ Brown AJ Brown. He just got to tighten up the small nuances of the game, get back to the basics of holding on to the ball. You're talking about a guy who lost 3 fumbles in 52 games before, he lost the last 2 in 2 weeks. So AJ, this is not AJ Brown. He don't have these issues a lot. He just got a little too loose with the ball. It happens. You know what I mean? I expect that not to happen moving forward. I don't think he loses another fumble all year.
Yeah, and he's the type of player that when focusing on one of the things he's doing bad, he'll tend to get it correct ASAP Rocky. And so I'm definitely on that side.
Mhm.
Like I said, live in the game, and I didn't know he was that bad, but all the things that had came out, and he still didn't try to make no excuses. He still responded with a touchdown and did have some crucial catches with some yak at the end. But I just know that this guy has the talent to be one of the best wide receivers in the league. I still think he's just getting into his prime, and we saw that in the first couple weeks. And by no means am I going away from him being a dynamic player. I just hope that as the season goes on, he can get right, whether it's his ankle, like it was against the Colts, I want to say, or no, Washington, or being sick. Hopefully that stuff doesn't linger on, because once we get back to full-fledged offense, where we got Goddard, Brown, Smitty, Hurts' arm/legs, plus Miles running like that, it's just going to make it more potent for when we get to crunch time games.
Yeah, he has no reason but to get right and but to get it together because Jalen Hurts is not going to go away from him. A lot of guys, they fall into these slumps and their quarterback kind of stray away from him. We talked about that early. He's going to get the ball. He's the $100 million guy. You know what I mean? So when he get the ball in his hand, anything can happen. This AJ Brown, he's elite. So you know what I mean? He's going to finish with 1,000+ yards this season as well. And I'm not worried about AJ Brown at all.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, there I don't want to hear excuses, but there was at least something. I
Mhm.
had no idea that he was even feeling this way
Right.
prior, because I heard, I saw the interview, him talking about Jair Alexander, talking about I'm a competitor and stuff like that. Um, so I just didn't know, and it caught me off guard. But I'm not worried. That's one of the guys that I'm not worried about. Let's flip to somebody that a lot of people are talking about too. He recently got paid. Jordan Mailata getting beat a little bit more often now. I still believe in him, and it's Jeff Stoutland University. There got to be some, technical things to get fixed there. But Mailata, he's even getting beat a little bit more than I want to see for a left tackle. He's guarding the blind side of one Jalen Hurts.
He better be lucky that the person that he's guarding right now is elusive. Because my lot of getting beat off that edge, man. It all started in what game was that? The Texans game. He was getting whooped by that dude, man.
By that
I forget.
35-year-old.
Yeah. It's like some old man just taking him to school. He been getting whooped ever since. So my lot of guys got to tighten up. I think when you get guys in too much of a passing posture, which we've had these guys in a lot because we did kind of shy away from feeding Miles in the running back room, they lose some of the physicality. Now that we're back out running and initiating the contact, I think that we'll see much more stellar blocking, moving forward. But, I'm not going to worry too much about Mailata. But if you talk about if I'm worried about AJ or Mailata more, I'm definitely worried about Mailata more than I am AJ.
Yeah, because again, for everything that Mailata has done great in this league, he's still fairly new. See, like how we saw the athletic skill, saw the talent, knew we had Jeff Stoutland and locked in a deal early. That's why they were like, man, you got him for, yeah, you paid him, but you got him for a standout deal when you look at left tackles in the league that are playing at a high level or that can get to an all-pro or a Pro Bowl level. So I think there's still growth that has to be done there. And mind you, who knows how that shoulder is. Shout out to Joseph. He did get out. Remember when he missed that one game or so? So, like, I think that around that, he was a little iffy. That Texan game stand out like crazy because it was back-to-back, like, sacks on his side. Like, Jalen Hurts had no time. But the pocket via the pass was collapsing a little bit. I will say this, and I'm all team Hurts. You know that. There were times. Now, look, I love the way Hurts was scrambling. I love the new QB draw. We're going to do that to every team at least twice a game. But there were times where he was getting a little ants in his pants, I want to say, in the pocket. Like, he's starting to look at that left side. And whether it's for right reason or not, he's not trusting the pocket as much. Now, his pocket presence, his throw mechanics, his accuracy, his deep ball, his timing, everything has been light years better. He's made the big jump. But in this Packer game, I saw him do a little bit ants in the pants, like more running around like this, not looking downfield like he's been doing. And it could be the buildup of Mailata, I love you, but you got me a little nervous now.
It could be some of that too, but I can't wait to see the all 22 in that game because I think the Packers just forgot that this guy was an athlete. And they were leaving like sides of the field just wide open. And I think he was just taking it. You talking about, against the Packers, he set the franchise record for rushing yards for a quarterback. We've had Randall Cunningham here. We've had Michael Vick here. We've had Donovan McNabb here. Some of the greatest scrambler quarterbacks of all time. I just think the Packers just did not contain him. He was like, I'm just going to take it. You know what I mean? But
no, you're right. Listen, and the scrambles that led to positive yards was great. I'm talking more about like when he dropped back in the pocket and he wasn't looking to run. He didn't stay in throw motion. He had head down and moving like this. So like plays that he knew he wasn't going to run on, and he felt good that a play will be open downfield. He didn't stay tall, facing the field, looking. He did a couple of that running around, not looking, then to look for a pass and then roll out. So I just think that he had a little bit antsy feet in this game.
It could be.
But, that was just something that,
it could be. I definitely want to look at the all 22 on this one. Maybe, like we said, AJ's not healthy. Dallas Goedert's not there. It could have been a case to where nobody was open, but we're going to see. We're going to see when the all 22 comes out. He definitely was using them legs the other day. So I can see some ants I can see a little antsy. Okay, I can go with that for sure.
Yeah. Like I said, by no means this was just my initial
take. No.
Yeah. I was saying it live. I'm like, dang, all right, Jalen, let's settle down and let's make some throws. Mm-hmm. That was like on certain drives, but by no means like when he dropped back, look, and that's what I like about him. When he dropped back, look, no one's there, and he takes off. It's cool. It's when the head's down and he's not looking to run. He's looking to buy time back there, but not really looking down the field.
Almost like he's anticipating the rush getting to him.
Yeah.
So he's just trying to make something happen. Yeah.
But the scrambles were timely done, and that first one where there was a spy in front of him, and he literally makes three guys look stupid. That set the tone.
What I don't like is that he just sometimes just does not slide. Sometimes you just gotta slide. I hate that, man.
He's getting too brolic now.
Yeah, I hate it, man. I hate it because that's how a ball gets popped free. That's how you take a vicious hit. Like, he a big dude, low key. Like, he's a big build, in terms of legs and how he can run through tackles and how he can stiff arm people. Somebody gonna whack you, bro. Somebody gonna whack you, and we do not need that, yo. You gotta slide, man. When it's four people around you of the opposing team, just slide, bro. You maybe you could force a 15-yard penalty. Just slide, man.
Bro, you're right, because this was the game that I was like, especially when he took it on. It was inside the 3-yard line, and he tried to take it outside, and he got caught up by three dudes.
Yeah, he got hit in them
ribs, head everywhere. I'm like, yo, Hurt, you tough. And I guess, again, I don't have the broadcast on, but because the people in the chat were like, they said he walked up gingerly, but he's okay.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, like, again, I was just
if you find that clip that's circulating around of him and Kelsey walking off the field, they like, after they did their little interview, because I think they both got the Sunday Night Football game balls. And he's Kelsey's asked. I think Kelsey might ask him how he feel, and I swear Jalen Hurts said, "I feel like shit." I swear I'm gonna find that clip. I just saw it. He's like, "Man, I feel like shit," but he's still waving to the fans. Getting the fans amped up. He took. That's what happens when you run like that.
Yeah. And again, one thing we always said about Jalen Hurts carries, and if you look at last year and you look at the early part of this year, is he's been great at sliding. He's been great at avoiding a hit. But now I don't know. He talked to Michael Vick one time, and now this man doesn't want to slide. And Michael Vick was known. And he spoke about it on many podcasts that, just the competitive nature in him. He wants every single yard, and that's cool until something bad happens. But just think about it. They just had what? It was the game before Washington, the Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick, Jalen Hurts, RG3 interview. He comes out of there, and now he's trying to run through everybody. Like, what's going on? What you tell him, Michael Vick? Stop playing with him.
Right. I mean, listen. I like the putting the team on his back and doing what he got to do. You know what I mean? That's who he is at times, man. That's why we're all growing to understand that this guy always gives you a chance to win. You know what I mean? It might not look how everybody wants it to look, but he gives you a chance to win. So I just hope he protects himself, because we're gonna need him, man. Because we basically in the playoffs. You know what I mean? One more game left to clinch, and we got 6 more games to play. We're basically looking to get this number 1 seed. We need everybody as healthy as possible.
Yeah. And when you look at that IR list, Goddard, we need him back. Davis, we'll see what happens with him. We can use him back. Looks to be possibly available for this game. Nick Sirianni didn't want to comment on it. And now like you said, CJ Garner Johnson, not going fake wood. We hoping for the best. Let's talk a little bit about the NFC East in its totality. Because right now, if the playoffs started today,
they all trash.
I know, but listen, I'm saying if the playoffs started today, it would be official that all 4 teams made it. Like when I was talking to you about it a couple weeks ago, I said the Commanders have a shot. They were in the hunt. Right now, because of Seattle losing, all the other divisions just straight being trash. It's literally Cowboys first wild card, Giants second, Commanders third. Now the Giants are going through their injuries, and they might just fall apart at the end of the season in Giant fashion, which is cool because we got 2 games against them. Not really worried about them per se, but I want to ensure that the games go through Philly as soon as possible. You're talking about that we're about to clinch right away, but the more wins we can get, the more we can distance ourselves, the more we can make sure we don't get nobody else popping up on IR. Because listen, it takes that one game where boom, boom, bang, bang, and now you're looking at a team that lost a couple more guys. And we've seen just look at each game now. We're losing some pieces, so we gotta try to put health as one of our top priorities down the stretch.
I agree, and we missed a guy. He ain't been playing so long, we almost forgot he exists. Avonte Maddox, so we need him back as well too. We need everybody, full tilt. Luckily for us, that nobody has any season-ending injuries, and we're still winning. I think the coaching staff is being cautious with a lot of these guys and not rushing them back, because we are still winning. But we got some Pro Bowlers and some really good players. Just waiting to get healthy and waiting to help. With this push to the initial, promised land to where we're trying to get to. As far as people catching up to us, though, the Vikings are still there, man. They haven't really lost enough games, It's like we got to keep pace with everybody else. Although the Dallas Cowboys are 2.5 games behind us, you know what I mean? Once they win, I feel like we got to win. Once the Vikings win, I feel like we got to win. Them the only teams that I'm looking at for real, are the Dallas Cowboys and the Vikings to see what they do. If they win, we got to win. Even though we own tiebreakers, we got a couple games, but we want to ensure that we get this done properly, man. Those are the only 2 teams that can threaten us for the number 1 seed, in my opinion.
I totally agree with that. Now, looking at the NFC landscape, where do you fit San Fran? Like, how do you feel about them? That's a team that is slowly starting to get healthy. They're tough up front. They can be that gritty run team, play good defense as it pertains to that cold weather playoffs, which, man, I can't wait to have some freezing cold Philly run games. It's going to pay dividends, especially if it's in Philly. But where do you stack the Niners? Because I think the 3 teams that, if I'm a betting man and I say that, how the landscape of the playoffs look for the NFC, I think it's the Eagles top dog, and then I'm looking at I'm not putting them in these exact order, but either Cowboys, Vikings, Niners. Them three teams are teams that in a one game sample size, if we don't play our brand of football, something bad could happen. You don't want to go with the Colts, that Colts mindset against the Niners, Cowboys, Vikings team in the playoffs, because this ain't a sport where you get a second chance. It's one and done. And so we have to play Eagles football. But when we do play Eagles football, I look at the Niners, Cowboys, and Vikings as they not on our level.
No, right. They're okay. Yeah, I see that as well. I'm gonna take the Vikings out of that one. I'm gonna add the Buccaneers. I just think that we can do whatever we want to do to the Vikings. Listen, Tom Brady in the playoffs is still Tom Brady in the playoffs. Until you knock him off and take his head off, you know what I mean? It's still Tom Brady. So I think that, the 49ers will probably be the worst matchup for us because I think that they can really make Jalen Hurts stay in the pocket and really bring pressure at the same time, which I don't think it'll rattle him, but it can pose the most, he's going to have to beat them with his arm 9 times out of 10. I think the Buccaneers also can do that because they did it last year. They think they found a recipe to beating them. But I think the Dallas Cowboys and the Vikings, Jalen Hurts will be able to do whatever he wants to them, just like anybody else.
Yeah, facts. Real quick, shout out to Donnie Dragon with a $2 super chat. He said, "You calling we making a remix of 17 for 22 or 23
Of course,
birds?"
absolutely.
There we go. If we get it, y'all get it. You know what I mean? But the Eagles got to put in the work first before LB can put in the work. You know what I mean?
Right.
It don't go the opposite way. But yeah, you're right. I look at the Niners as and that's what people forget about football. Like, of course, the Vikings and the Cowboys have a better record than the Niners, but it's not necessarily who's playing, who's really on their P's and Q's come playoff time, right? Because you want to be playing your best brand of football in December going into January or whenever the playoffs start. And so the Niners run game, because they got multiple running backs in McCaffrey, they can dink and dunk. They can play defense. They can keep Hurts in the pocket. That's kind of nervous. I think that, there's something about the Cowboys that I'm not really going to, I want to see how they use Zeke and Pollard down the stretch. I think that Dallas is always going to resort back to pass. And if they do that, that's a recipe that fits good with the Eagles. Bringing it back to the Packers and still staying where we are. Did you think we were getting abused by the run game a little bit?
Yeah, I think so, man. I think because Aaron Rodgers is smart. This is what I got from the game. I got to wait for all 22 again to confirm this. I feel like when we came out in that bare front, that 5-man front with that one linebacker, they just ran to the outside. Then when we came in with a light box, they just put Dylan in and ran up the gut. You know what I mean? And then when we didn't let them change to the personnel to match what we had on the field, they laid down and got a substitution. You know what I mean? They played as smart as they could to try to make the game benefit them. So I don't think a lot of teams are going to do that. You know what I mean? But next week, you got the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry can bounce to the outside or go up the gut right from like an I formation stance or a single back stance. That's the real test for me. You know what I mean? I think Cincinnati held them to about 30 yards or something like that. So it can be done. But do you want to get stuck and get caught in these bare fronts, you know what I mean, and not have a lot of coverage back there because you're scared of Henry? Like, how do you approach this game? This game for me is the Jonathan Gannon game. This is the Jonathan Gannon game for me, man. You cannot let Derrick Henry have his way. So, yeah, to get back to your answer, yeah, I think we did get abused a little bit, you know what I mean, in the running game. And in the quick game to some degree as well.
Yeah, Rodgers killed us with the quick game. But I totally agree. And there's not a better stretch of teams that we're going to play to really prepare us or show us that we need to really be worried about the run defense or not going into playoffs than what we got. Because we got Zeke and Pollard again on the 24th. It's not a playoff game. Yes, I want to win it, but I'd much rather beat the Cowboys in the playoffs than on the 24th, especially if it's not really affecting our status. Now, if we're still neck to neck, yeah, I want to beat them every single time we play. All that being said, you got Saquon twice, you got Zeke and Pollard, you got Derrick Henry, who's the big true test, and then we just play like Taylor and Jones. So I think we did good against Taylor, Jones, and Dylan. Dylan, a bigger back, kind of beat us up. We'll see how that all translates. But defense. Did you really, really dislike the defense in its totality against the Packers? And is that still the weakest link? Just Jonathan Gannon's play calling from here on out?
It's not the defense in its totality, man. The defense in its totality actually isn't bad at all. It's the run defense, man. Because if we can't stop nobody on first down, then they always end up in a very third and manageable, like a 3rd and 2. You know what I mean? That's not hard to stop in the National Football League where Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback. You know what I mean? Taylor Heineke was in a 3rd and 1 multiple times against us. We got to start getting guys in 3rd and long. That way we can pin our ears back and start getting some of these sacks. You know what I mean? It's like I said, it's not the defense in its totality. It's how we get abused on 1st and 2nd down that really makes it hard for us to, get guys off the field. So I think you got to kind of sell out and stop the run. They have no receivers over there in Tennessee like that. It's Tannehill, man. Tannehill can throw, but you got to go out there and get after these guys, man. And you also got to sustain long drives to keep your defense healthy. So in its totality, it's not the defense. It's the run defense for me. And special teams. I mean, when you're getting gashed the way you're getting gashed, they're already starting at the damn 50, and you can't, you know what I mean, and you can't get them off the field. They only got half the field to go.
I agree. That's what I was going to say. Look, I'm all for the Jonathan Gannon slander, and I'll never really fully stick up for him because he has done things that I just totally question. I do not like being passive. It's just not my mindset. I understood why he played a lot of bend don't break at the end of that game, because when it's a 2-score game and there's only 9 minutes left, if they score a touchdown, you want them to score in 6 or 7 minutes. You don't want a quick strike, which they end up getting anyways because of a bad call and Reed Blankenship taking the wrong angle. But I'm with you on that. I think that the special mind you, that turnover we had with the 4th and 1 go, that set the Packers up at the 36. They had 2 returns to the 40, 1 to the 50. So the defense was pressed back a lot. They did get some crucial stops when needed. You're talking about 2 interceptions, 3 sacks. I just think that at times the bleeding just doesn't stop. Like we just get abused on certain things where I think if you look at this, that, and the third, they still played pretty well, but it's just like Gannon just lets that one thing that's leaking. He just doesn't fix it. He just like, I'm not going to put it. He doesn't do nothing to fix it. So I think, we just got to be prepared for teams to really attack certain areas of us down this stretch. And it's up to Gannon to get it done.
Yeah, I think Gannon doesn't have the right personnel out there at times. You know what I mean? We have a lot of players on this team. If you get the right mix of guys that you can give the bulk of the snaps to, I think you solve the majority of the problems. Gannon he resorts to the same thing. When he thinks we're getting gashed by the run, now he's just going to throw Sue out there and Linval Joseph and thinking that's supposed to solve his problems. When now you're too heavy in the inside and guys are just going to bounce it out to the outside. I mean, you put a lot of pressure on, one linebacker because you're out there in the bare front trying to be desperately stop the run. When Aaron Rodgers was play action and moving that one linebacker with his eyes, and people were wide open across the middle multiple times. We got to be smarter and we got to schematically be better as a defensive unit. And it got to start with Jonathan Gannon, man. It got to start.
I like how you said schematically. That's where it definitely starts.
Yeah, because if you let King Henry run wild, you lose time of possession.
You get fantasy points, though.
Oh, me? Yeah. I get fantasy points.
You're like, wait,
but
not against my Eagles, though.
You know what I'm saying? I get fantasy points, but I mean, Jesus Christ, man, you got to go out there and make something else happen, man. The obvious thing is Derrick Henry. He's the one consistent. You got to stop him.
Facts. And LB did beat me in our content creator league last week. Listen, I had Virginia done messed me up so much. I left Leonard Fournette in, knowing that he's not playing. I
didn't even peep that.
LB could have been a bigger man. He could have been like, "Yo, Mike, you
I didn't see that.
LB he was looking. He probably looked at it Saturday night and was like, "Yeah, Mike in Virginia, he's not going to reset his lineup."
Who would you have put in though?
I think I had that Jeff Wilson dude as a backup. Yeah. I still would have lost, but still, I know
you would have got some points. No, I see it. I'm telling you, I see it.
It's all good. A couple of super chats though. Mikel Johnson with the $5 super chat. He said, "Fly Eagles fly." Love the bros. Sir. We appreciate you. This one is good. Thumbo with the $5 super chat. Whoever gets to the Super Bowl between the Niners and the Eagles is going to beat up on that AFC team. How you feel
I
about
would.
that?
I can see that happening, man, because we like those are the two defenses that will get hungrier as they go in the postseason for sure. I can see the Niners and Eagles in the NFC Championship, man. I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
I can see that, man. In Philly, though, I think Jimmy G is used to playing in hostile environments, though, man.
He's still warm weather though. It's gonna be extra cold.
Right. He's used to the booze. He's used to the pressure, man. It's the one thing about him.
All right, so who would you rather see in the NFC Championship? Niners or the Cowboys?
Hmm. I'd rather see the Niners. I'd rather see the Niners, and that's not because I don't think we could beat the Cowboys. I just don't want to see the Cowboys get that type of success of
Yeah,
going to
you
the
would.
NFC Championship game. You know what I mean? I just don't. I don't even want them to make the playoffs. I'd rather see the Niners. The Niners deserve it more.
Yeah, I hear
The
you. I hear
Niners
you on
deserve
that.
this ass whooping more.
Hey, give me that. Um, again, the NFC is crazy, and again, you still don't know. As LB talked about, Bucks. Now they looked really bad against the Browns, and I don't know what's going on over there. They're like imploding. But as long as Tom Brady's there, and if he gets a ticket to the dance, you can't count the man out until we see it because, you know, if there's anything left in the tank, he's going to use it then. For sure, for sure. Kirk City with a $2 donation. He said, "Would you sign Malcolm Jenkins for CJ?"
Nah,
LB said he's coming back. LB said he coming back extra soon.
I'm riding with Reed Blankenship.
Reed
I'm telling
Blankenship.
y'all. I'm telling y'all. Reed Blankenship. I'm telling y'all. Mark my words. Reed Blankenship going to hit Derrick Henry this week. He going to hit Derrick Henry. It might not phase him, but you're going to hear some damn pads and some damn helmets collide on Derrick Henry this week. And it's going
You
to be
know,
Reed Blankenship leading the charge.
it gotta be because listen. I talk on this podcast about how our corners be making business decisions. Now, shout out to Slay. He's made some big plays tackling in the last couple games. But listen, Slay, Bradbury, if they see Henry, they're only gonna and they see that arm come out, they going, hey, listen, that arm has been vicious. You saw what it did to what's his name? What was it? What was that
Josh
corner?
Norman. Josh Norman.
Yeah.
yo, Slay. I ain't gonna lie, Slay. Just get out the way, Slay. That's my dog. Get out the way, Slay. I can't see my dog get hit by no car. Get out the way, Slay.
Yeah, it's crazy. Look, like, listen, you gotta look at what's the score, what's the position, how many yards is he gonna get, how many Eagles are behind you to help you out. You might not be able to go in there by yourself. Try to push him out of bounds, but that's he's a big dude. He's a big dude for sure. One more super chat, Harrison with the $5 banger. He said we need to run 4-3 with Nakobe Dean. Maddox is out, so why are we staying at nickel or staying in nickel? And we didn't blitz Jordan Love at all and bleep the Cowboys. We can always agree with the bleep the Cowboys.
Facts.
How did you feel though when Jordan Love came in and he was dotting us up real quick?
I mean, I was mad at Gannon because out of all the times you don't go with that soft ass, trash ass zone, you playing man. Why are you playing man? And why is Epps on Christian Watson, one of the fastest guys in the league? You know what I mean? It just was like Gannon just don't be caring or he don't be thinking, man. Like play
That
your trash ass soft zone that you like to play and make them work for it. It's Jordan Love.
right? Listen, and I said that in the live play-by-play. I didn't see the play until I got to get out the live play-by-play and check. The play that he called was just the wrong call for what was being presented in front of us. And that's why now, yes, Reed Blankenship took a little bad angle on a 4-3 guy. It is what it is. But the call from Gannon was horrible. Listen, that was the time that I would have been content with a drop back zone soft stuff because what happens is Love is going to dink and dunk you. And if he does get down to the touchdown, well, it took 5-6 minutes. There was
Right.
only 8 minutes left. So nothing cheap, nothing deep was supposed to be his thing, and he didn't do that then. But again, in its totality, I'm always going to prefer a more bump and run type defense, a blitz and defense. But the nickel and dime packages are going to forever be around because it's a passing league per se. But there's been teams who've been selling out to the run, And I think as it gets cold, I think, last year was look at the Chiefs and the Bills game. You see all the back and forth passing, blah, blah, blah. There's going to be games, big games that are run via the run game this year because I think, people are seeing that.
Didn't N'Kobe Dean get some snaps?
I seen him on
I
special
want to
teams
say
make a couple
I want to
plays.
say he was on the field when Blankenship got that interception. He was he was celebrating with him. I think he did get some snaps.
Yo, but if somebody in the chat knows, and if LB, let me know. There was a play on one of the running backs' touchdowns. I believe it was Kenneth Gainwell, where Cam Jurgens was in. I don't know where he was playing. I don't know if it was for Kelsey. I don't know if it was for Dicker. It might have been for Landon Dickerson once, but he pushed him in. I'm like, Cam Jurgens in the game? What's going on?
That's what I'm saying. There was some sneaky stuff happening. I thought I've seen N'Kobe Dean a few times out there. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. I think that this game, when you got the playoff standard, I think we need to treat this game like a playoff game against the Tennessee Titans. I think we really need to go out there and really try to assert dominance and assert our will. It's in Philly. You know what I mean? This crowd is going to be behind them. You know what I mean? I think I'm going to be in the building for this one, man. I think you got to assert dominance in this game and go out there and get this W, man.
I hear you. Real quick before we get up out of here, I want to pull up the schedule and say I was looking at it, or I heard somebody say something about what is it? Hold up, yeah. Oh, there it is. So we got the Tennessee Titans at home, so that's back-to-back home games, right? Now, these opponents ain't that good except for the Cowboys, and who knows where we're at that time. But after the Titans, the next 3 games are on the road, and no matter who your opponent is, 3 back-to-back road games where it's like, well, one is the Giants, so it's not that far of a travel, but go here, come back for a little bit, then go here, come back, and go here. It's the
What's
Bears,
the next 3? Oh, Bears.
The Bears, Giants, Cowboys. But they're all 3 road games in a row. I looked at that early in the season before I knew what this team was really about and said, dang, we got 3 in a row away games. And I knew it was leading up to that Cowboys game. I forgot my feeling for it then, but my feeling now is like, look, say you beat the Titans. Say we beat the Titans, the Giants, the Bears. Say we beat all 3 of them teams. And the Cowboys lose one more between our game. We really might not even need that game.
Exactly. We really might not. Who do the Cowboys got in their next 3?
Yeah, let me see that real quick. Because I'm thinking if we win them 3, Titans,
I think the Cowboys got Tennessee coming up in their next 3.
And for as much as they want to talk about our run defense, that's something that and that's the thing. Like, if we play the Cowboys in the playoffs, I would love for us to just run them down. Like if you could do something like that we did to the Packers, where it's pissing the Cowboy fans off because they just complain about Hurts throwing. If they know he's gonna run and he runs, and we duplicate this type of game, that's gonna be lovely for sure. But the Cowboys got the Colts. Never mind. They got the Colts, the Texans, and the Jags.
Hey, don't sleep on the Colts.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're
Don't
right.
Don't sleep on the Colts or the Jags. You know what I mean? Listen. I'm telling you, don't sleep on the Colts. Didn't the Jags just get a big win? I think they played the Raiders.
Ravens.
They beat the Ravens, right? I'm saying, don't sleep. Don't. You can't sleep. That Jeff Saturday led team, they probably about to win tonight. You know what I mean? And winning builds confidence. For sure, I'm pretty sure that they're probably beating Pittsburgh.
Yeah, someone let us know the score, but there we go. Look, if the Cowboys slip up one of these games, then it puts us in a better situation. Let's get these super chats and head up on out of here. An hour, y'all can go finish and watch the Monday Night Football game. It's not the greatest.
Man, Pittsburgh beating them.
Cool.
They trash. The coach trash, man. The coach trash.
You were
trash, Mike.
That's so funny though, because you were like,
I'm like, don't sleep. Right. I'm like, don't sleep. They probably would have been. The boys trash, man.
It's all right. They tried it, right? Shout out to Knight Rider with the $2 super chat. Hurts with the outscore. What's the next naysay? Yeah, man. Look, I've been stacking them up. Comeback win. Throw for 300 yards. There's probably people out there like, can he even run the ball? So there's always going to be some type of narrative for Hurts, but he just keeps checking them off. Check.
Facts.
Jose Serrano said, just chiming in, we have a serious problem with special teams giving up over 160 plus yards. We cannot continue with this giving up this much yardage. If not, we're done. We talked about it, but yeah, how do you feel real quick? Give me a little breakdown about the special teams. And
They got to be better, man. They got to be better at, first of all, we don't get anything when the ball is being kicked to us. We don't gain special team yards, so we don't have no right to be giving them up. You know what I mean? We need to be put, you know what I mean? That's the bottom line. We need to be in our defense in the best position possible. You know what I mean? Special teams got to tighten up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But think about it, man. I think that we are now pulling special teams players into starting roles because we got a couple injuries right now. Wasn't Reed Blankenship a special teams guy?
yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Now that you bring Reed Blankenship up into a starting role, now you have Kayvon Wallace still on special teams, but that takes away Reed Blankenship, probably one of the best tacklers on the team. You know what I mean? He's off of special teams now, so guys got to fill in.
I agree 100%. Like, you got Boston Scott making plays at the last as a last resort. Our kicker's been in on tackles for multiple times.
Twice yesterday.
You don't want that. You don't want an injury there. I just don't understand. Like, in today's game, they changed it. First of all, Jake should be punting them junks out the end zone every time, right? And teams are really catching the ball. Like, normally a team doesn't return it unless it's like at the 2-yard, like it's not in the end zone, because they just call fair catch or take a knee and it's up to the 25. But they look at us as so soft. They return that inside the 5 yards deep, and they're like, "Yep, it's the Eagles. I'm going for it," and they run for like 55 yards.
Yeah, we got to get better, man. We got to get better.
Yo,
we got to get better.
In a big game, there's nothing more demoralizing. I mean, a pick six and all that is pretty demoralizing too. But like, the worst, like for me as a fan, maybe it's just me, but you score a touchdown. Who knows where the game is at? Maybe you tied them, or maybe you went up 7, maybe you went up double digits. I don't know. But you score, you're still coming off that score. You're not really paying attention to the kickoff because it's a kickoff. You just scored. You ready to see what your defense do. And they return it on you. It's
pretty demoralizing. Think about it. When we played the Cowboys, we were smashing them, bro. It was over. Then Turpin with the big return right before half. I think did they score when they
got 3 out of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We was ready, like they weren't about to have no points in the whole first half, I believe. You know what I mean? The Turpin come out there, flip field on us. He almost took it to the house.
Yeah, that is demoralizing, and I do not need something like that to haunt us real quick, for sure. Shout out to Jose. Selena G with the $5 super chat. We appreciate it. The fact that we decided to kick instead of going for that 4th and 2. I was thinking kick the field goal. That's 2 possessions. Hallelujah. Football gods. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good decision for sure.
Nick Sirianni got some guts for sure. He's going to always believe in that offensive line and Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders in short yardage situations. Listen, I come to the terms of I rock with it. If Sirianni say go for it, I'm like, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Listen, I just feel so confident with this team. So confident, man. I hate that football is a week apart, man. I want to see us against these Titans as soon as possible, man.
Yeah. But again, the reason we kicked that one is because Nick probably really wanted to go for it. Like he went for the ones previous, but he was looking at the time and how much we were up. He said, let's just do what we need to do for sure. But with that being said, we right around an hour.
Yes,
Eagles
sir.
are 10-1 though. So anybody who tries to poo-poo, look, I literally, Cowboy fans try to make some stupid explanation about 8 being bigger than 10 and this and that and the third. Like, it's Cowboy fans, but we follow us on Twitter. It's a fun follow for sure.
Definitely a fun follow for sure. Before we get out of here, I'm gonna let y'all know real quick though. The sale for the Black Friday sale for all the Hurt season merch is over at 12. So make sure you tap in, click the link in the description. You know what I mean? And I'll definitely, let you know. The code is BF91. I made the code when we was 9-1, but it ends at midnight. Get your savings.
Yeah, mine's well. BF91, get it done because
Yes,
her season ain't going away. He's gonna keep winning. MVP conversation. We're gonna talk about it. Go vote for him for the ground FedEx thing. I saw the Eagles post that. But until next time, we'll probably be 11-1.
Right.
We'll catch you on the next one. We out.
Yes,
Peace.
sir. All right, y'all.